what is the best reality for my application? How do I decide if I create a virtual reality app or an augmented reality application? Think about your use case. Can your users sit on a chair and be immersed and completely disconnected from their environment and see a simulation for education purposes, for example? Then that's a very good VR use case. But if you have to have some kind of connection with your actual environment, then augmented reality should be your choice. A great example is if you are educating a surgeon for a surgery, that's a really good use case and that you can practice in a virtual environment. But when you're in a surgery room, you can't be disconnected from your environment totally, but you might need to have some relevant information in front of you about the patient. And that's a really great use case for augmented reality.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for being here. Super excited to run this workshop today. Today we're going to talk about 3D content, augmented reality, virtual reality, and how you can build a 3D application in 15 minutes or less. Thank you so much for joining this workshop, and thank you so much for the event organizers for inviting us to speak. For Echo, we are a cloud platform for 3D applications that basically provides tools and network infrastructure for developers and creators like yourself to build really engaging and interactive 3D applications. I'm going to start with saying hello. I'm Alon from Echo. I did my master's in computer science at Columbia University and did my undergrad in computer science and electrical engineering. So I'm a nerd and certified. Big believer in the intersection of cloud and 3D, AR and VR, and hope that you kind of joining this talk will also kind of fall in love in the world of cloud and 3D. Now, before we start, I want to level set here a little bit. Some of the people already know these terms, but let's just define them together so we kind of make sure that everyone are on the same page. What is virtual reality? What is augmented reality? So let's kind of define it together. So virtual reality or VR is when everything around you is digital. You're fully immersed in a 3D environment, and everything you see is being projected into your eyes through some kind of headset that basically includes everything you see. You're controlling the world with your hands or controllers, but you're basically kind of fully immersed in a 3D environment. As opposed to augmented reality or AR, in which you still see the real world, that world is being overlaid with 3D content. You're looking at the world through some optical see-through like glasses or a headset, or a camera see-through like a phone or a tablet. And basically, you can control your world with your hands, but that world, again, has digital content inserted on top of it, and you can still interact with things that are inside the real world. A really great way to understand this is the amazing movie Space Jam, in which we have Michael Jordan being teleported into Looney Town. Everything around him is kind of digital. He's fully immersed in a cartoonish world, playing around with bugs and the other Looney Tunes. But everything around him, again, is kind of this cartoonish digital construct, as opposed to what we have later in the movie, in which we have the Looney Tunes coming to our world, playing around with bugs and Michael Jordan and Bill Murray in kind of a real world court. So that's basically the kind of differentiation. Either we are going to Looney Town and that's kind of VR, or Looney Town is coming to us and that's AR. So these are obviously comical examples, but an example that you probably all know and love are things like Pokemon Go, in which we have people running around the real world interacting with digital monsters that are not really there. Or for VR, we have an example like Beat Saber, which is a really cool kind of beat style game that has you slashing cubes based on the rhythm of the music. Note that in VR, again, you're kind of fully immersed in this kind of 3D environment and you don't see the real world. Another example of this is something that is really close to my heart, and the pun is definitely intended. And that was my thesis project back at Columbia University, where we took CT and MRI scans, converted them from 2D scans to 3D models, built an application and deployed for smart glasses for a physician to wear. You can see here that the physician is wearing the Microsoft HoloLens. That's a headset by Microsoft that basically allows the physician to see the patient's heart floating above them during surgery. It was an amazing, amazing experience. I got to scrub into many surgeries and basically give the physician this kind of 3D reference map of the patient's anatomy. It was a really cool project, but in order to achieve that, I had to do something I really, really hate, and that's waking up super early in the morning. I had to be at the hospital at like 6 a.m., take those 2D scans, convert them to 3D models, and deploy to those smart glasses. And that process took so much time and was so ineffective. And for me as an engineer, all I wanted to basically do is to kind of manage and deliver 3D data to an XR device. And when talking to other developers who are building applications for retail and shopping and data visualization and games, they all said the same thing. There is no easy way to manage and deliver 3D data. But if you think about it, that problem was solved for 2D data, right? If I want to build a website, I can use something like Heroku as kind of my cloud backend. If I want to build a mobile app, I can use Firebase or Parse as my kind of backend as a service. So we went from web to mobile to now this new technology was AR, VR, 3D, metaverse, call it whatever. The question obviously has to be asked, who's going to build that cloud platform that will allow you to build applications for this new type of content? And you guessed it, that's what we at Echo do. So Echo is a cloud platform for 3D applications that basically provides tools and network infrastructure for developers, creators, and companies who want to build games, AR/VR applications, 3D experiences at scale. Very similar to how if you're building a website and you store images and videos on the cloud, we provide you with the way to store 3D models, animations, and interactive content. So as I mentioned, you don't need to be a web developer to update a blog post. You drag and drop an image or video, suddenly they can appear on web and mobile. And if I'm in New York and you're in California and we're both watching an episode on Netflix, we automatically get the best streaming experience. So we basically translated these concepts into 3D, augmented reality, and virtual reality, allowing you to basically manage and deliver 3D data and get the best 3D streaming experience. And what's interesting here is this kind of bi-directional connection between content and target. So you as a user, you can't move an image or a video on a website, but you can definitely move a 3D couch across the room or move an avatar in a 3D game, and that needs to be updated on the cloud. So 3D content is so much different than 2D content, both in its kind of the way we interact with it and the way we kind of consume it, that a cloud solution for 3D is really, really needed. So this is basically what we've built, this kind of content management system and delivery network that is fully focused on 3D applications, AR and VR. And that basically allows you to build applications like really, really quickly. And today we're going to see how. We're going to upload some content. We're going to stream it to devices. If you're watching this live, you'll be able to participate. So kind of let's try to make this super, super interactive. You can register on our website for free. So just go to our website, register for free, and you're going to get access to our platform. I'm going to show you how to do that and how that will help you basically build applications in real time. So let's start with that. So once you register, you can see our platform right here. So the platform is on the right and my phone is on the, the platform is on the left and my phone is on the right. When you register to Echo, you get this API key. This is basically your project key that allows you to build your applications. You can have multiple keys, which means multiple repositories of 3D content, basically multiple collections of 3D assets that you own. And we have all these different integrations with all these different platforms like Unity and Java and Swift and Flutter for you to build applications anywhere. So you can build applications for any game engine, for any mobile device, for any browser, just by using Echo. So, okay, so you registered and we have access to the platform. What should we do now? So let's start with something simple. Let's add some content to the cloud. So I'm going to add to cloud button right here. And here I'm able to add images, videos, 3D models, files that I have locally stored, or use our search engine for 3D assets that basically has over 75,000 models that you can automatically use in your project. You can search for any term, and basically you're going to get free 3D models to use in your application. But I'm going to start with something super simple. I'm going to add some content to our cloud. I'm going to add this Empire State Building. I'm publishing it to our cloud. What happens right now is that we take that 3D model, we convert it, we compress it, we make sure it works on all the different platforms that we just discussed, like Android and iOS and MagicLeap and HoloLens. And once that is done, you'll be able to see that 3D asset in the platform right here. We see that originally this file was an OBJ file. but our platform already converted it to GLB, USDT, different file formats that basically work on different platforms. But again, for you, it's totally seamless. It doesn't really matter. It just means that you are kind of rest assured that it's going to work anywhere. So now that we have this model right here, let's start with something very simple. Let's see it in augmented reality. So I'm going to click this button right here to expose a QR code. If you're watching this live, you can actually scan this QR code right now. I'm going to do it with my phone. So I'm going to just place my phone camera in front of this QR code. I'm going to scan it right here. So let's do that. The QR code will redirect to a website. You don't have to install anything. It will basically allow you to see the Empire State Building in augmented reality right now with no installation needed. So just scan this QR code. As you saw, redirects to a website. Once that website opens, you'll be able to see the Empire State Building on your phone in 3D. So super simple. You can, again, just follow my lead here and see what I'm seeing on my phone. And here it is. Here's the Empire State Building. Now I'm going to click See in AR. Camera will instantiate, basically open up. Again, no installation needed. And if I move my phone around a little bit, we're going to be able to see the Empire State Building just pop up. How cool is that? There we go. So really quick. Time to hello world was like literally 15 seconds, uploading content and then see it in augmented reality. Oh, let me restart the camera a little bit. I think it's not showing. There we go. Let's mirror the screen again. Give it a sec. Hopefully we'll be able to see it. There we go. Let's click See in AR. Camera instantiates again, and here's the Empire State. Perfect. Super simple. We're able to see the Empire State Building in augmented reality. How cool is that? So I really recommend that you try it out, upload content to Echo, and then see it automatically with no installation needed. Basically, drag and drop to see something in augmented reality. So that's one thing that we can do with Echo. So you can basically upload content and automatically view it in augmented reality. That's great for retailers. That's great for try before you buy. That's great for kind of rapid content visualization. All of the content you see here is basically shareable. So each content entry that you upload has its own link that you can basically share with anyone on social media and basically send them to anyone, and they'll be able to see that model in augmented reality really quickly. Perfect. So now that we have it on a web browser, let's also try to see it on a mobile app. So we have a kind of sample mobile app that you can download, but basically you can kind of also create your own. I'm going to open that mobile app right here. It will again downstream kind of assets from the cloud to my device, and then we'll be able to see the Empire State Building hopefully real quick. Again, you can do that on your phones as well, just by downloading the right app from our platform. Super simple. And there you go. Here's the Empire State Building now in a mobile app. So instead of the browser that we had earlier, now it's in a mobile app. Very cool. Okay, so we saw web, we saw mobile. Another example that I want to show you is Unity is the game engine that a lot of developers love to use. So you can basically take our Unity SDK, which is available right here, plug in the same project key, press play, and data will stream from the cloud to your virtual environment. So here's an empty virtual environment. So you can build games, metaverses, anything you want. And then voila, the Empire State Building just appears here out of thin air. How cool is that? So basically, we saw how when you upload something to Echo, you can stream it to web browsers, you can stream it to mobile devices, you can stream it to game engines. You can also, as I mentioned, view it in a browser directly in your computer. So let's do that for a sec. I'm just gonna browse there. There you go. Very cool stuff. Now, what happens if I want to change something? So let's say I have this game, I was able to stream data into it, and now I want this to animate or do something. So what I can do is I can go here, I can click this button right here and add some metadata. That metadata will affect how my content is behaving. So I can do something like direction equals right, and then voila, suddenly it starts to rotate in real time. How cool is that? So this is basically a simple example to show you that you can change data remotely. It synchronizes in real time, changes in the application, changes in the browser, changes in the game engine, and all you have to do is just do a few clicks. when I stop the game engine from playing, for example, everything disappears. So nothing actually persists in memory. When you build this application, it's going to be super, super small. All the assets are coming in from the cloud, but your game in your application still remains very, very small. Perfect. So we saw streaming for a browser, we saw streaming for a mobile device, we saw streaming for a game engine. But everything we saw so far basically remains dependent on kind of surface detection. The camera recognizes a floor and puts some content on top of that. Another technology we support is image recognition that basically allows you to see 3D content on top of an image. So let's see how that works. So I'm going to click this button right here again. And now instead of doing see on the floor, I'm going to choose see on an image. If you're watching this live, you can actually scan this again with me. You don't need to install anything. It will again redirect you to a website. And then you'll be able to put your phone in front of this QR code and see the Empire State Building kind of popping out of the screen. There you go. How cool is that? So now the AR target that we're using is basically, instead of the floor, it's this kind of QR code that basically kind of acts as a real world anchor for the 3D asset. Very, very cool stuff. You can choose any image that you want. So basically, this will use the QR code as a target, but you can actually upload your own custom images. So let's do that too. So I'm going to upload some more content. Maybe let's upload this fox and let's put it on a specific image right here. So let's decide that I want this image to be the target. Let's upload that. Another thing that we can do is we can upload content based on location. So I can decide I want this building to appear in New York. So when I open the application, for example, I'll see, and let's say I open it in New York, I'm going to see the Empire State Building. If I open it in San Francisco, I'm going to see the Golden Gate Bridge. So this is an example of how you, with Echo, can build like location-based experience, kind of Pokemon Go style experience really, really quickly, just by clicking a few clicks. Another example I could show is just uploading straight up images and videos. So maybe let's upload a video as well, and we'll be able to see it in augmented reality. So let me upload a video right here, and let's also put it on an image. There you go. Okay, so once that is kind of uploaded, we saw images, we saw videos. Another example of real-world anchoring that I want to show you is face filters. So again, we can click this button right here, decide that we want to see that content on the face. And again, you can scan this in real time if you want. Again, redirects to website. You don't have to install anything. And the data will be basically streamed into your devices right now. Again, if you're not watching this live, you can just recreate this on our platform. So let's go to the website. Camera again will instantiate. Now it's going to be the front-facing camera, and the Empire State Building should appear on my face at this point. There we go. And I move my face, and it moves the Empire State Building. Obviously, this is a real kind of a comical example, but as I mentioned, you can do anything. You can kind of upload masks. You can do like really cool things with face tracking in augmented reality. Perfect. So now that we've seen how to add content, how to interact with content, how to stream content both to images and videos in 3D models, another thing I want to show you is before we move on to like a more technical part of the workshop is other kind of features that you have in the platform itself. So we already saw how you can manage data, how you can kind of add metadata to any 3D asset. I would also know that you can add metadata across your entire project and basically use that to kind of add more complexity to your scenes. You can monitor how your content is doing and how you're basically using the platform, basically how many API calls you're making, how much storage and bandwidth you're consuming. You can see your distribution of content around the world. So remember, we added that apartment building in New York, so we can see it here. We can see which servers are supporting your application, basically where you're kind of streaming data all over the world. We're getting some usage on users that are using your application. You can manage security features and add fellow team members to your application as well. You can see insights on your application. So we just streamed the Empire State Building. We see a spike in usage. You can basically monitor how your application is doing and how your content is doing. If you have a virtual store that does multiple assets, you can say, oh, this asset is a bit more popular than this asset or whatnot, and basically understand how your content is doing with users and monitor everything that's going on. And as I mentioned, again, you can kind of monitor users in real time. Another cool feature is the convert and compress page basically allows you to optimize content just with one click of a button. Let's say I want this model poly reduced by 50% or 49% or 47%. You can literally ask our cloud to basically deliver you a smaller version of the model. we have a bunch of clients who are uploading like really, really high-end large models, and they want them optimized and compressed so they can be consumed on mobile devices. No worries, you just click a button and it just works automatically. You can generate a 2D thumbnail of a 3D model and basically convert and compress it anywhere with any file format. Also applies to images and videos. Another thing that you can do is you can kind of edit models in real time. So think about seasonal content. Christmas is coming up, and you want to change the Empire State Building from its normal self to a Christmas version. Perfect. You can do that inside the console. Just go here, decide that you want the base color to be red, and there you go. We have a red Empire State Building that fits Christmas a bit more. Once you do that, you can save that and basically make sure that everyone streams the new version of the model without them having to re-download the app or reinstall the app or do anything technical. Another thing that you can do is kind of customize the experience that we saw on the website. You can add buttons, you can add logos, you can basically create this kind of fully immersive AR experience and fully interactive because you can add messages and music and background and really, really cool and engaging stuff just with a few clicks. Another resource that we provide is our tutorial page. This is filled with amazing examples of how you can build applications on using face filters or virtual art or games or makeup tutorials, really, really cool stuff. All of these things are open source, which means that you can literally take them and take the full code and play around with it. And it will basically allow you to build applications. Again, fully open source, fully free for you to build really engaging applications. So just explore that page. Another page that I wanted to show you is actually my favorite page, and this is an inspiration page. This is filled with amazing examples of our community of developers. Today, we have over 13,000 developers on our platform who are building applications for retail and shopping and data visualizations and games and e-commerce. If you look for the ones that are powered by Echo AR, you'll see amazing examples like this NFT marketplace or a project that we did with Verizon 5G or this really cool art installation and really amazing stuff that use image tracking and face tracking and game engines and really, really amazing stuff around education, COVID. So definitely kind of go through this and to get inspired what people are building in 3D and what you want to build in 3D as well. So I definitely recommend that. Now, if we go back to the content page, we can see kind of a lot of 3D models and videos that are already uploaded. Let's transition into a more, maybe I'll show you another example of image targets with the kind of custom image before we move on. So if you want, let's scan this, see on an image QR code. It will redirect to a website as before. But now when the camera opens up, it won't actually recognize the QR code anymore because the image target that we need to use isn't the QR code, right? Because we uploaded a custom image. So I'll need to open that custom image to basically have the 3D asset overlay it. So let's give it a sec. Phone is a bit slow. Try to rescan this. There we go. There you go. And now when I look at on the new picture, the 3D model just appears on top of that instead of the QR code. How cool is that? This image could be whatever you want. It could be your business card. It could be a magazine. It could be a billboard. And you can overlay digital content on top of that. So for example, a business card, when someone scans it, they see a video of you talking about yourself. Super, super cool stuff. And again, everything is kind of low code, no code. Perfect. So we saw images, videos, 3D models. Let's see, again, kind of dive into how you can build like a full metaverse game kind of inside a game engine. So let's just kind of jump into this. We already have our kind of SDK built in and the API key. If I press play, again, data will stream from the cloud to the game engine. Now we have more content. So we have multiple models. We have a video. So let's see how that looks in the game engine. There you go. Everything starts streaming. You see the video. You see the building. Let's move things around a little bit. I'm going to move some of the objects because they kind of overlaps. So we already know how to do that. We just add some metadata and things going to automatically move around. I'm going to delete the video because it's actually playing in my ear. this out, we delete the video, automatically disappears from the scene. Super, super simple. If I stop the application from running, everything disappears. When I restart it, everything returns to its original state. So what we have here is what we call a stateful CMS, basically a kind of content management system that remembers the state of the model and recreates the scene in just a few clicks. This is super, super powerful for you to make sure that once kind of someone exits the application and returns, it will kind of return in the same state that it had without them doing any technical work. Perfect. So now let's transition into a more technical part of the workshop and basically show you how you can edit code to add more features. So every asset that is instantiated in 3D with Echo has this custom behavior script attached to it. It's a script in Unity format that basically allows you to change anything you want and add any kind of functionality that you want. If you know C#, that's great. If you know Java or any other object-oriented languages, that's even okay. This script is in Unity format, which means it has two major functions. One is the start function, evident by its name, happens when you start the application, and the update function, which is a really cool function that happens every single frame. Remember, you're coding in 3D now, so that means that there's like a scene being rendered, there's like almost like a video being kind of rendered on the device. And this is almost like an infinite for loop or kind of a while true loop that happens all the time. This means that you have to really be cautious that this function is optimized, because if it stuck or gets kind of loops forever, your entire application will probably crash. But let's start with something simple. We already know how to kind of utilize data remotely, but now let's add some custom feature. For example, here, we're saying if I have any additional data and I have an additional data called name, let's set the name of the application, the name of the 3D content to this name. So super simple kind of if clause that says, do I have any additional data? If I do I have a name? And if so, let's set the name of the object to that name. Let's see how that works. So if I go back here and I decide that I want to name this fox, I want to add a name and I want to call it Kevin. Let's see what happens when I press play. Data again will change from the cloud to the device. That start function will instantiate, and now we have Kevin the fox. How cool is that? So this is obviously a very simple example to show how you can kind of change data in real time and how you can kind of affect the game engine with data, external data, but it can be anything you want. You can have enable or disable if clause, enable or disable features, add stuff to the content remotely, change much more than just the name. But now let's see what happens if I want to change this name to something else. Let's say I want to change it to Matt. Nothing changes. Why is that? Because that snippet of code of changing the name only happened in the start function. How can I make it basically work everywhere and any time? So you've guessed it, I'm going to move it from the start function to the update function. That means that every single frame is going to ask, do I have any additional data? Do I have a name? And if so, let's update that name. So let's see how that works in practice. So I'm going to kind of press play. The scripts are recompiled. Data will start kind of flowing in. And then we'll basically see Matt the fox now. There we go. But now, if I want to change some data, for example, transition this back to Kevin, it automatically updated. How cool is that? So again, you can basically change things in real time, make sure that your functions work in real time just by playing around with the code a little bit. Great. So this is obviously a very, very simple example. Another kind of more complex example that I want to show is a more robust kind of COVID example. So I'm going to swap the custom behavior script under the hood. So we already know how to kind of do that. So I'm going to throw in a more complex example right here. And I'm also going to upload some content from kind of local storage. Let me clear my my project. I'm going to add new content to it. Let's see how that works. So I'm going to add this 3D model that I have on my computer right here. And I'm also going to attach some CSV, some Excel file to go along with it. Basically just kind of a predefined Excel file that has already keys and values for my platform to kind of process and attach to that 3D model. So let's do that. So while this is uploading, let's review the custom behavior script together and see kind of how it changed now that we have some more code. So what do we have here? So here we have an array of continents, and we have a kind of data map, a kind of a structure, a data structure, and then we have the start function that looks pretty much the same, but the update function is much more interesting right now. So let's kind of review it together and see what it does in order to kind of figure out what this application is going to be. So in the beginning, we're asking, do I have any additional data? If I do, it says, do you have a scale? If so, it parses that scale into a number. And then it iterates over all continents and says, do I have information about a continent? If so, parse the number that is associated with that continent into a number of cases. And then if we have those cases, let's create a graph that basically shows that kind of number of cases in a visual way. Let's create a bar, add some color to it, add some location, textures, give it a name, give it a color, give it some text. And if we don't have information, just destroy that data point. So basically, once that loads, that finishes up, we're going to be able to see how our application is basically a COVID kind of visualizer, basically showing different information about different countries and different locations all over the world and the amount of COVID cases each of them has. And we'll be able to kind of change in real time the information that we have on all of these kind of cases all around the world. So while it's loading, let me show you how it looks on our GitHub page. So if I go to our GitHub page, and again, these are amazing resources that we have here. We have our documentation that is basically a step-by-step guide of everything that I just showed you at this point. Really step-by-step guide of like doing everything I just showed you. We have our GitHub page that is filled with, as I mentioned, free open source examples for you to use. And maybe I'll show a few of them. Here's a demo on Disney, and here's a demo on some interior design, and here's a car racing game, and here's a museum, and here's a remote work one. And what else? Let's do this one. So here's an example for some interior design demo that you can kind of build furnitures in augmented reality. Here's an example for a car racing game in 3D. All you have to do is just upload some content and then build the game. All the code is available for you. Here's an example that uses image targets. It basically brings a museum to life with images and image targets. Here's the example of remote work that basically allows you to kind of bring in an avatar and have them speak. Here's our example that we're building right now, basically visualizing data with a 3D model of Earth. So here we are, we have that Earth already updated. We can see it right here. And now let's stream it to our game engine. If I go to the back panel, I can see that all the data was kind of parsed and updated with the model itself. So pressing play, data now streams from the cloud to the game engine like before, but now we have a different script. And there you go. How cool is that? So we can see that data automatically populated. We have the Earth spinning. And now we have all this data points for all these different continents. If I want to change something, for example, I want to change Antarctica from 1 to 9, bam, it just jumped automatically. How cool is that? So we're able to change data in our 3D application just with a few clicks. If I delete Antarctica, it will just disappear. How cool is that? So again, simple examples to show how powerful 3D can be, how easy it is to build applications with Echo, and how easy you can just drag and drop some content, stream it to Echo, and then make it work anywhere. If you have additional questions, feel free to register to our Slack channel and ask questions directly. Our support team is there. If you're having trouble building your application, just ping us and we'll just try to help you out through our Slack channel. You can also email us or send us a tweet and we'll be there to help. But again, it should be super, super easy for you to build an application. And as I mentioned, we have our documentation that is a step-by-step guide of doing everything I just did. And our GitHub page is basically an endless resource for you to kind of use open source examples and play around with them and basically start with something. And they're really, really compelling use cases there for 3D. And the last thing I'll say, again, go to the inspiration page to kind of explore and learn more about the things that you can build and kind of get inspired by what other people are building to see how that can relate to your industry. Okay, so let's recap. So what did we see so far? So we saw how you, as a developer, you can basically decide that you want to use any platform out there, if it's Android or iOS or MagicLeap or HoloLens. We saw that as content creators, you don't need technical skills to upload content. You can just drag and drop assets. It works automatically. We build, store, and convert all these assets and make them streamable in augmented reality for game engines, for mobile, for anything. We saw the developers obviously save time and money in building their application. It took us really a short amount of time to build what you just build in real time. And for content creators, you need no technical skills to do all the amazing stuff that we did on the platform. Companies that use Echo today are able to stream data all over the world and basically enjoy kind of a really robust streaming platform for all of their content anywhere on the planet. We discussed the use cases of augmented and virtual reality. We discussed shopping and tourism and ads and surgery and interior design. And we saw the amazing kind of open source examples that we have on our GitHub page and the inspiration page that is filled with amazing examples of augmented and virtual reality that you can kind of start building today. A little bit more about us as a company. We won a bunch of awards and we're back with some of the most amazing investors in the country. We were featured in many events. And if you are at some kind of physical events, try finding our team to say hello. We'll be super glad to hear that you've enjoyed this workshop. We love to say that we kind of empower people to build applications across the different platforms. So definitely start building. This is your time to build. And you can use Echo, again, as I showed you, to stream to mobile and web in game engines. Today is much easier to build applications than ever before, and you should definitely take advantage of that. Become a builder. Make sure you register on our website, which is www.echo3d.co for free, and start building your 3D AR VR applications today. Thank you so much for being in this workshop. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Use our Slack channel, as I mentioned, or shoot us an email. Really, as I mentioned, this is the time to build. If you're interested in XR and AR and VR and 3D, now you have the tools to build applications super quickly. And now that everyone's kind of at home and quarantined and still kind of in a kind of post-pre-COVID world, this is definitely the time to build applications and definitely explore, because you're definitely just limited only by your imagination of what you can build in 3D. So thank you so much for joining this workshop. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out and start building. Thank you so much.